What is beeping?
My coffee pot just went off.
Jesus, come on, man.
This is a very professional setting I'm in, sir.
Too legit to quit. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Are we ready?
Ready or not, we're recording.
Ready or not, here we come. I have no tune.
You are who auto-tune was made for.
Oh, God.
Welcome to the Wrong Indian Podcast.
Native Americans of all trades, masters of none.
What does that mean? Oh, we have a lot to say. We are not the expert.
But we talk to the experts on a variety of issues.
I'm Brittany Shulman.
Kenrick Deschine.
This is the
Wrong Indian Podcast. Oh, God.
Welcome back to the Wrong Indian Podcast, Season 2, Episode 5. We are halfway through this season. Yay! I'm Brittany Shulman, and, well, there he is. You know.
Kawitz Kamadum Bentiv. I'm Kenrick Deschine, and I'm masked up because it's COVID time.
Where have you been for the past 8 months?
I've been in my bunker. Look, guys, just a reminder, if you guys like what you're hearing, please go out there and subscribe and rate us anywhere you're listening to your podcast, or if you're on the YouTubes and you want to follow us, click that red bell button and, share us your comments, your feedback, rate us, because, at the end of the day, what that does is it helps the algorithm. So it builds the following so that people can find us and we can continue building this community of the Wrong Indian Podcast.
And I mean, we're all the Wrong Indians here, and so it just helps us to have more. So please feel free to, rate us five stars. That's greatly appreciated. Rate us 1. Tell us why. We appreciate that as well.
I mean, we're all adults. We can take it. I mean, if it's a 1-star comment and you just want to tell us that, you don't like the smell of my aftershave, hey, let me know.
So we're going to just slide right into what's become my favorite segment of our series, and that is, what are we watching? So, Kenrick, what you watching?
I mean, look, guys, it's November 1st, and if you're living under a rock, or, you guys all have your special scenarios in life, but if you guys haven't watched Mandalorian, episode 1, season 2, I don't even know what to tell you. I won't spoil anything. I'll just tell you that, Mandalorian just kicks off exactly where it left. All that anticipation doesn't disappoint in episode 1.
Nice.
It picks right back up with our favorite Mando and the child, as we all beloved called, Baby Yoda.
And, you mean our little native baby? Yes.
That is my adopted cousin, man.
I have a friend who is so obsessed with what she calls her little green bean. He even reads some books sometimes. It's adorable. I love it, love it, love it.
So, that's what I'm watching right now. It's definitely a family thing. We definitely look forward to it. The only thing I don't like, and I never liked it even in the first season, is that Disney gets you, man. It's a weekly. I'm from, we're from that culture of binge watching, so it's like, that is the one thing. It's like, I hate that I have to wait, but it does, give entertainment to people like us who want to, talk about it, and we can talk about it weekly, as they come and, give our reactions. So the only reaction I really want to give you is that I feel, and this is just me because I'm very action driven. I kind of feel episode 1 was kind of a slow burn. It was a slow burn, but I think it was because it was trying to set up like what's to come, which is what I expect. And it's very, just like it was in season 1, very Western feel, you definitely feel that. And all I can say is just wait till the end. The end doesn't disappoint. It definitely opens the door to a pretty cool storyline that I hope that expands as the season goes on. So, I mean, I love that.
This whole weekend's been Halloween. If you're following me, we Halloweened it up. So I have very small children who are not going to let me enjoy it. So I haven't been able to watch it yet. Tonight's the night. But I will definitely be ready to talk a little bit more next week. So stay tuned,
Absolutely.
guys.
Talking about Halloween, I don't know about your house because, I know you have littles. So, my kids are a little bit older than yours. I wanted to watch a lot of horror, but nobody in my family totally wants to do that. Nobody. They're like, no, we're good. I'm like, come on. We have the perfect background. We live in a cemetery. Let's open the windows. It's raining too. I mean, come on. It's the perfect environment for horror, but nobody wanted to do it. And by the way, if anybody cares or does follow me at KJ Escalante on my social media, I did post my Halloween pictures with my wife.
They were creepy. It was both. I enjoyed it so much.
We were Adam and Barb from Beetlejuice, and we were dressed up as them in the form where they were trying to do their last big scare, with the big nose, the hand, a big old mouth opening. It's really awesome. But what made the day was the fact that we decided we wanted to take pictures. So, hello, we do live out in a cemetery, so let's go out there and take some photos. I don't know why we didn't think that this would be happening, but there was people walking around the cemetery. And all I know is at one moment we're standing there and I'm positioning my wife to be like, okay, I need you to look this way. Then all of a sudden we hear, ah! And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, what are they screaming at? And then I realized,
y'all were terrifying.
They're screaming at us. It was us that they were screaming at.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what made it fun. It was cold, it was wet, but it was fun to take those photos. It was really awesome.
Yeah, they were great. We did we watched Halloween movies, but the scariest we got was Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, because 4 and 2, that's pretty much my kids' level where they're like, this is scary enough, Mom. Tim Burton kid. They won't do Frankenweenie, but they'll do Nightmare Before Christmas.
See, we consider that like a Christmas holiday film, so we watch that now, November, December.
There is that great debate on whether Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween or a Christmas movie. I just think it's great for the whole season, starting October all the way to December.
It's a fall favorite.
Yeah, let's go with that.
There you go.
We did that. I tried to get them to enjoy Hocus Pocus with me, and they were checked out at that point. It's like, nah, we're not doing this. So I did get to watch Hocus Pocus. We also finished watching The Masked Singer. The latest episode finally showed up on Hulu, and they had their next group of singers. And I'm still rooting for my B and C picks that I have, Sun and Seahorse. But I knew who those lips were the minute they opened their lips. The minute she strolled out on that couch, I was like, oh, this is somebody. So spoilers. It was Wendy Williams. I was like, oh, she has such, and that's one of the few times because people talk about on The Masked Singer, they have such an iconic voice. How come you didn't know? I was like, because I didn't know. But her voice is so iconic. I was like, oh yeah. And who? I don't think Wendy Williams.
Oh, Wendy. Okay. All right.
She was sitting on the couch and she was libs and she sang a New York song. I was like, all right. And so she was off immediately. I mean, she wasn't a good singer either, but so
she
that's
what. Did she?
No, she sat on the couch.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
They rolled her out. She didn't walk or nothing.
Like the diva she is.
Yeah. Which was awesome. Then immediately she starts asking Nick Cannon, so are you and Mariah getting back together? I'm like, that ship has sailed. He's got youngins for other women. It's gone. I don't think she wants him back or he wants her back. You know, it's one of those moments in time where like, it was our moment in time and now it's over.
No, in talking about Masked Singer and former singers on the show of this season, it's not what I'm watching, but it's what I'm listening to. It seems that because of the COVID times that we're living in, it's a resurgence of my old time favorite music artists. So like, you know, new albums that just came out that I'm listening to right now. Exhibit, old hip hop artist Exhibit came out with a brand new album, and he came out. It's a group album because he has a group called Serial Killers with Be Real. So it's Be Real from Cypress Hill and Exhibit, and then there's another guy who's with them. I'm not really familiar with him, but I'm familiar with Be Real and Exhibit, and that album is just, oh my gosh, it's so amazingly fire. I love it. And it's songs of the time. They're talking about COVID. They're talking about the presidency. They're
That's
talking
amazing.
about Black Lives Matter. They're talking about everything, the whole spectrum of 2020. They're just speaking on it. And then Masked Singer himself, Busta Rhymes, just came out with a brand new album. And my God, I haven't heard Busta sound like this from, it's been a while. I feel like, it's funny because like we just had an interview where we talked about the darkness, right? Like there's this dark time that we're all in. Well, I feel like even in the artist community, that darkness came, and now your creativity is coming back, and it's coming back better than ever. And I'm hearing it in these like passion projects that are coming out. So yeah, man, get on iTunes, and if you're not listening to the Wrong Indian Podcast, I mean, look up these artists, man. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, we were just talking about Exhibit the other week. Of course, we were talking about the iconic show Pimp My Ride. I used to love that show. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. There's I don't know the channel, but there's a YouTube channel where there's a guy who specializes in finding those cars. Now he finds it because they basically end up breaking down. They're junkers, right?
I mean, cars, yeah, they're junk cars to start with. And who wants a chandelier with a steamer in the trunk of their car?
Yeah. So this person, he will go out and find the old West Coast custom cars, and he will refurbish them. Yeah, he'll try to fix them.
I've just found my next. What are you watching?
Yeah, no, yeah. If I can find the channel, I'll share it with you.
That's so cool.
But yeah, for sure. So, before we go on, the one thing I want to make sure I give a big shout out to, and I do this every week that we talk about it, it's our amazing sponsor, and that's Magic Spoon. I mean, if you guys haven't tried it yet, I don't even know. Look, I could give you the spiel, but I don't know what to tell you. It's just good cereal. I mean, on average, Americans eat 100 bowls of cereal a year, and mostly those are kids who are eating that. And the problem is it's all sugar, mostly all sugar. And Magic Spoon gives you everything you want. It gives you the flavor. It gives you the nostalgia of being a kid again, but it does it with, you being guilt-free. Because why? It's grain-free, gluten-free, low carb, high protein, 0 grams of sugar per serving. And it's just delicious. And right now, like I've been telling you guys for weeks now, for 5 weeks, I've been telling you, get some free shipping from us at the Wrong Indian Podcast. All you have to do is use the Wrong Indian Podcast promo code. Get yourself on to magicspoon.com, order yourself some cereal, and then use the promo code Wrong Indian Podcast. Get yourself some good cereal.
Now is the time because they have just put out their fall flavors. They have a seasonal. This is the only time you can get this variety box, which has apple cinnamon, salted caramel.
Oh man, I saw that. Looks so good.
You're gonna want this. You're gonna want this because I smell it. It smells delicious.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna order it myself, and I'm gonna give you some, reactionary stuff because that sounds so damn good.
We have it coming. I've been sitting by. I mean, the things have been arriving. Because when you're on lockdown and quarantine part 2 or 10 or wherever we are now, we do a lot of online shopping. So things have been arriving. So I've been waiting I ordered that box, that variety pack, and I am super excited to try it because salted caramel.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
And look, guys, if you're already like us and you're just ordering away, don't you want some free shipping? Get some free shipping. Use the promo code Wrong NDN Podcast. That's the word wrong NDN Podcast, and get yourself some damn free shipping, man. Just do it.
So really appreciate that moment, and I think we are obligated at this point because it is the day before the election to talk about the election.
Absolutely.
How are you feeling about it, Kenrick? I'm happy and proud to say that we already voted. My household has voted. We got our little voted stickers. Yep. We got to hear ding, ding, ding. There were several brand new spanking first-time voters who came in. What are you feeling about it?
You know, pins and needles, man. Pins and needles. The thing is, it's like you can be confident all you want, but in these times, man, I just don't know. I just don't know. And I'm just hopeful. That's all I can be, I know that I have family members who voted, the households voted. We just got a call from our daughter explaining that, she's a first-time voter and she voted, and the thing that and it's funny because like I asked her like point blank, who'd you vote for? And then, I'm not going to say who she voted for, but what I will say is she just answered me by saying, I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid.
So as yeah.
She's like, I'm a woman. I have to protect my, my freedoms. And, I know who I voted for and I'm not stupid. And I'm just like, you know what?
Joe Jorgensen. Yay. I'm just kidding.
So, she voted for Kanye is what I'm saying, at the end of the
basically.
Yeah,
I hear you and feel you on that. I think that the 2016 election, like, really hurt me personally. Yeah. I was one of those people. And my daughter was just born. She was a little tiny thing. And I remember sitting there and rocking her and holding her and watching the thing. I was like, I think this just happened. And they would not call it that night. And I was like, they're not calling it, but it happened.
Right.
And so I'm very hesitant again because I really was in my own little personal bubble.
Sure.
I think, and I didn't hear the voices of a lot of different folks that I knew personally. I hear them now because they're chewing all the way. So I am still in that place of, okay, I guess this, if whichever way it goes, I am not very hopeful. I'm not hopeful at all. I am still in a very dark, sad place.
I think I was
one place is not as, one place is bleak and gray and the other place is bleak and gray with the sun peeking through, but it's still, I'm still in a very bleak and gray place.
I think I was like you. Actually, I think I was the opposite of you 4 years ago. Excuse me. I think for me, it was like, I knew who I wanted and I knew that it could have been and should have been just a shoe-in, but I was hearing the talk, I was hearing that things weren't as it seemed because of the fact that there was some likability issues with certain candidates. And so
my God. Oh, sexism. Okay, yeah. Let's just call it sexism.
Well, I'm not going to call it that. But if you feel like you want to do that, that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is like, I knew that there just wasn't some likable things about the certain candidates. So when things started rolling out, I was just like, oh, okay. All right. The writing
on the wall.
The writing was on the wall. And so the difference for me, and maybe I'm in a bubble this time, I don't know. I try not to be. But this time around, I really feel like there's very straightforward contrast. And so I feel that there is a lot of likability for one.
There's, broad-shouldered leadership.
Exactly.
On both sides. Sexism. Go ahead.
I just have a hope. I have a hope that I feel like there's just people who are very tired of the 4 years that we've been in. and a realization that we can't go through another 4 years of this. On the other hand, I also feel that people realize that there's just another candidate who is more likable, who has more leadership, and who will hopefully set us on the right stage to bridge us to where we want to go. So I think that's where we're at, and that's where I'm hoping we're at. So I'm hoping, come tomorrow, come Tuesday, all that comes to fruition. But you never know, and that's democracy.
What's
just never know.
Crazy, and not to talk about either candidate on this point, but just what's really crazy is the times that we're in. There are more absentee voters in a lot of places than actually voted in the last election, because what was really striking for me in the last election was not just who voted for who, it was who just chose not to vote or who was suppressed from voting, because there was a lot of voter suppression that happened. There was also a lot of people who were apathetic and chose not to engage for whatever reason. So that's really telling to me, is that people are more engaged this go around. And I don't know if it's just because there's a lot of new voters. I don't know if it's because there are a lot of people who are willing to fight the apathy. And there are a lot of people who are really making sure that their voice is heard despite all of the suppression efforts. I think that's exciting on one hand, is seeing how many people are getting out, but it doesn't tell me one way or the other which way we're going to go. It doesn't, like when they had the dueling town halls, it was like, well, this one got more views than that one. Does that mean anything? I don't know. I do feel, in some hands, I feel this very nihilistic, we're doomed anyway kind of scenario, in the sense that it's really, COVID has laid bare the systems that are in play. COVID hasn't really shown up any other, if you're looking at the numbers of people infected, the numbers of people who are dying, and the numbers of people who are getting this, it's not change. If you compare it to the healthcare system in and of itself, it lines up pretty well with the disparities that are already there. COVID's just opened up those disparities. When you look at the need for federal assistance and how that's played out, it's really laid bare some of not only the inequities in our system, but also that our systems are just effing broken, man.
Right?
And show it. It's like taking a magnifying glass and looking at the cracks and going, oh yeah. Like, have you ever had a toilet seat, where you look at it, like, just go with me here. Like, you look at the toilet seat and it's got like the little cracks in it. You can see it from a distance where it looks like it's cracked up, whatever, because it's like fiberglass or something. I don't know what it is. But then it's like taking a magnifying glass and going, oh, do I really need to be sitting on this? That's what I feel like COVID has done. There's my analogy for today. So
drop in knowledge right there.
So that's so I do feel like this administration's handling of this particular place that we're in has helped some folks see that maybe we need to handle it differently. But at the same time, I know folks personally who have, it's like the governor or senator in Pennsylvania who had the COVID and said, it's not that bad. It's like, dude, you lost 50 pounds and you have access to the best healthcare there is. What do you mean it's not that bad? You were on a ventilator. Wait, you had access to a ventilator. What do you mean it's not that bad? I can barely get a COVID test.
Right.
And I have insurance.
Yeah.
So, so I'm not feeling very hopeful about the election at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot to come back from.
I want to be hopeful, but and I also want to believe that, like you said, there is a rise in voting turnout already. And I want to say that it's because of the fact that people who took the vote for granted 4 years ago and thinking that it was such a shoo-in because of the idea, the concept of a celebrity.
Because the system was so strong. That was the other thing. That's how I feel. It says the system is so strong that this is gonna happen because it's already, it's part of it's how the system works.
Yeah,
that's really how I feel. Like people are like, oh, it's gonna work. It doesn't work without you.
Right. People thought like, oh, this stuff's predetermined, I mean, come on. This person is the shoe-in, and it's there's no way this celebrity who is just ridiculous is gonna win, right?
Yeah.
And then look what happened. Right. So, I'm hopeful that the rise in voting is because, the new time, first time voters, and the fact that people who took it for granted 4 years ago are saying not no more, and we're going to go vote. However you guys vote, that's great. But here's the thing. I don't know. I just don't know where this is going to go, and does it end on Tuesday? I mean, how long is it going to fall out?
That's a very good question, because depending on the state, some states have already counted their votes. Some states don't count them until Tuesday. So if you are already seeing this huge surge in absentee, in early voting, they may not be counted. We'd be waiting a little while. I mean, it used to be way back in the day that the president didn't get seated until March because it took that long to count. And then because of technology, we're able to move that up to January. So we don't know if that's going to be a thing where we actually have an answer. It may be like it was 4 years ago. We don't have an answer that night. It may be that we are waiting a little while longer.
So for our listeners, I mean, feel free to go to our YouTube channel, go to anywhere where you listen to our podcast. And, we do have a Native Vote special, and we do have it with the DNC chair, Tom Perez. And, he shares some highlights about what we need to be doing looking forward to Tuesday and what we need to do looking beyond Tuesday. So feel free to, check that episode out. In fact, I mean, I will even cut a segment of that episode and have it up on our YouTube and have it up in our player so that you can just hear what the DNC chair, Tom Perez, had to say. I mean, because look, guys, Tuesday is important. You need a plan. You need to execute that plan, and you need to just go out there and rock your vote.
All I'm saying is, if you have not voted yet, make your plan to vote, carry you some extra water, mask up, protect your relatives, and execute your plan. Make sure that your voice is heard. Make sure that you are really getting out there. I'm going to be real honest. I care less, and I told my husband this, I care less about who you vote for as much as I care that you actually engage in the process. I'd much rather you be an informed, engaged human being and vote the way I want you to vote. But I would rather you be able to vote, because that's been it's been a privilege that we've not always had as Native people, as women. So go vote, go make your voice heard. And, it takes a lot to be active in this election process, but it also takes a lot to be active in our regular life. So we'd like to take a moment to talk about one of our sponsors, FNX Fit. FNX Fit is committed to creating innovative supplements of the highest quality that provide focus for a productive morning, energy to thrive throughout the day, performance supplements to reach your new goals, unique sleep and recovery formulas to support any sport, and healthy supplements to support your active lifestyle for now and years to come. And if you're active like us, your body craves, and it also needs to recover from those daily demands. I need to tell y'all point blank. So I love my New Mexico Pinion coffee. Oh, look at you with the Rebuild creatine ready to go. For those of you who are not watching, I love their pumpkin spice coffee. And I have just discovered you can use the FNX Refuel, which is their whey protein powder, as a creamer.
Man.
Mind blown. It's delicious. I kid you not. I put that in my creamer in my coffee, and I'm ready to go. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's really, really awesome.
And for all you, gym heads out there, can we all give Brittany a about time?
Well, I never use creamer in my coffee. I don't use creamer or sugar. I like a good black. I want my coffee black and strong. But that pumpkin spice needs a little something. And that's a little something I put in, and it was up. Yeah, delicious. And I use the vanilla milkshake. Also, I've been using the Recharge, and it's been cold. We had snow. Those of you who don't know, we actually had real snow in New Mexico, which never happens. So I haven't been able to run. I mean, let me put that back. I have chosen not to run in the snow, but when I get back out there, I'll be using the FNX Recharge, and that really helps with your workout duration. And I notice a difference when I'm running. Listeners of the podcast can get 15% off of your order when you go to FNX Fit and you enter our promo code Wrong Indian. That's the word wrong, the letters NDN. Go to fnxfit.com. If you're on the YouTube, you can just click the link straight, and that'll take you straight to get that 15% off of your order, whatever you order. And that's, that's nothing to shy away from. So we want to say thanks, FNX. Thank FNX Fit. I know this is a podcast and I should be able to talk, but I am struggling. Maybe I should have had some more coffee with my FNX Fit refuel.
I feel like there should be like a jingle after that. FNX Fit. Something like that. I don't know. Hey, so, we're going to wrap this up. But before we do, before we get into our interview, a segment that we love to do every week because we need to during these times is what's making us happy. And so, Brittany, what's making you happy right now?
I have to show y'all this. So like I said, we were doing holidays, and I can't take it off. Anyway, my daughter made, we got this little.
Oh no, she broke up the Wi-Fi's. Well, apparently Brittany needs to fix her Wi-Fi. She needs to go kick the little machine that makes it start. I will go ahead and explain to you guys.
Of course, the video is gone out, but
there she is.
Are we there? Who are we? Where are we?
Man, 2020 just stuck.
So my daughter made this necklace for me. I know, right? It was like the perfect time. But anyway, so she made this necklace for me yesterday. That made me us celebrating Halloween. We called it Schulman Party of Four, and that's literally we did a Easter egg hunt. We called it hunter treating because we didn't have any tricks. You just had to go find your candy. So we hid candy in the backyards. The kids did that. They got Halloween baskets filled with all sorts of goodies. They got pajamas in character, so character pajamas. So like Jared was Buzz Lightyear in the morning, and then he was Woody in the evening, and my daughter was Wonder Woman. And then she decided that she didn't want to just be Wonder Woman. She wanted to be a butterfly. So we have a little dress up kit thing that we have, and she put together herself her own butterfly costume. I was like, go ahead, baby. Go ahead. I love it. So that actually made me, and then we did Halloween foods throughout the day. I can tell you this. I made mac and cheese, but I made pumpkin mac and cheese, it wasn't pumpkin spiced cheese. It was just, I dyed it orange and put a little celery stick at the top. It was super cute. That was not a hit. It was still regular mac and cheese.
It doesn't sound like
mac and cheese, but yeah, it was just orange. Wasn't a hit, but the green eggs were great. So that made me super, super happy to be able to do that and to make it an experience, because my kiddos have really handled this COVID. I mean, they're little, they really don't know. I mean, my son has no idea that you're supposed to see people periodically. But they've handled it like champs, and I just wanted to reward them and just do something fun and have a whole experience. So it was a whole day. It was a whole thing.
So for me, like right now, what made me happy is that, I work for an amazing organization, and I was actually given the privilege, and obviously they asked for my consent, but I was given the privilege to actually travel back to the West Coast. See, I'm originally from the West Coast, and I'm now living in the East Coast for my work. And I was asked to go to the West Coast, specifically to the Pacific Northwest, and to, go film some footage of some tribal communities inside the Pacific Northwest. And it was just so amazing to get back to seeing people again. And I understand because, COVID, we have to be safe. And we have to not engage and be 6 feet apart, which I was when I was there. I was being very responsible in that way.
Obviously, you have your mask.
Absolutely. And see, look, and that's the thing, if you're on YouTube, you see what I'm wearing. I'm wearing one of the masks that I got while I was there. This came from the Tulalip Indian Nation out there. And it was just an amazing time to be out there. It was fun. It was wet. It was everything you think of when you think of Washington State. It was just rainy. It was full of beautiful forests, lakes, and rivers, and just getting to reconnect with people was really wonderful. And it really got me thinking about how important it is that once COVID ends and we figure out, a way to live with it, how community and being connected to people is so important. So that's what's making me happy. Halloween was wonderful. Me and my wife loved to get dressed up for it. The only downside was that we were going to have a small dinner, but we ended up canceling it because obviously I did come back from the West Coast, and I did come back with some sniffles.
Is it going to be a Beetlejuice dinner? Because that would have just been great.
It was going to be. We had it all planned out. I mean, we were going to have shrimp cocktails.
Oh, you were going to play. Oh, man.
It was going to be awesome. Anyway, however, we weren't able to do it because I wanted to be responsible. I did come back from the West Coast. I came back with some sniffles, so I just didn't want no one to get sick for anything. Because of the fact that we're not around people. I mean, just the standard cold is scary these days,
a sore throat, a sniffle, nothing is the same anymore.
Right. I mean, needless to say, I did get a COVID test and I tested negative, and I'm feeling good. And just being around people, getting to reconnect with Indian country again, made me happy. So yeah. Welcome back to another segment of the Wrong NDN Podcast. I'm Kenrick Escalante.
And I'm Brittany Schulman.
We like to welcome you to another segment that we have on our show called Natives Do What, where we interview natives with interesting jobs. So today, we're interviewing Nicholet Deschine Parkhurst, who is Lakota of the Lakota of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, and Dene from the Navajo Nation. Nicholet is the creator of the Native American lifestyle blog, Red Street Girl, concerned about the ways Native Americans and their cultures are represented in everything from news, fashion, sports, entertainment. Nicholet started Red Street Girl to share her life experiences in fashion, travel, and pop culture. Nicholet also is earning her PhD in Justice Studies. She's doing big things, Brittany. I don't know if you realize that, but she's earning her PhD in Justice Studies, and she's a researcher for American Indian social media activism. She has earned her master's, not one, but two. She's earned her master's in public policy and in social work. Nicholet is also a community organizer. She brings awareness about violence against Native American peoples and eradicating the offensive sports mascots that harm Native American youth. Nicholet can be found on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Red Street Girl. Nicholet, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kenrick and Brittany. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so glad you're here. I've been following you since Kenrick brought you up, and I was like, oh, I love this so much because I am I'm an avid YouTube watcher. So I'm always looking for Native content, and B, I love reading. Your blog is amazing. So, but we want to get to know you a little more intimately. So we're going to play a little game. It's called.
Okay.
So we're going to give you two choices, and you get to decide which one you would prefer. So we're going to start off easy: sweet or salty.
Can I say both?
Right? I would together.
Yeah, they definitely go together. So I really like popcorn, like kettle corn popcorn. For some reason, there's a little bit of saltiness to it, and there's a little bit of sweetness, and it's not overpowering either one. It's
right.
Good. I like it when it's like freshly cooked and it's like hot, and you can just like gobble it up.
Yes, and then drizzle a little chocolate. It's wonderful.
I don't even know why we have these topics. I mean, why do we have to separate things?
maybe we shouldn't be engaged in the binary thinking, but I am going to ask this: Marvel or DC?
Oh, geez. I think I'm gonna have to go with Marvel. Just personally, like I really appreciated the movies, like all the Marvel movies. Like they've done a really great job with those. But growing up, I definitely was more aware about DC comics.
Right.
Growing up, I had no idea about like the Marvel comics, and so I just think Marvel's just done a really great job with their films.
Right.
Absolutely.
I got to agree. I think there's a long-standing history with DC, like DC Comics. You kind of just grew up naturally with Superman, Batman, those type of things. Right?
I was always a Marvel girl. I was always over the X-Men. I was always with Captain America.
In the comic book version, me, not really. Not Captain America. I mean, I love his adaptation in the films, but in the comics, I didn't really care. I mean, X-Men, yes. X-Men is what truly drew me to Marvel. Yeah.
So, TikTok or Snapchat?
Too soon.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I mean, TikTok's gonna die like on Sunday or something.
So I consider myself like a early adapter to like technology, and so I've been on Snapchat. I think like when it first started up. Like I remember Vine. I don't know if you both remember Vine, but when Vine started, I was on Vine. I loved Vine, made Vine videos. And then, Vine slowly went away and then Snapchat came around. I'm on TikTok, but like, I'm not quite as creative as a lot of those people that are on there. So I'm mostly just there just to like watch stuff.
Sure. I thought she was going to say WordPress.
Reels. I mean, I think we should start a segment called Real Talk and just watch Instagram Reels.
No. No.
I think it's clever.
I'm sorry. I'm an adopted TikToker. My daughters are like, Dad, you need to be in this. We need to be all about it. And I made one TikTok, an original TikTok, and they made fun of me.
Oh, that's
and I was like, I'm never doing it again. I'm not.
So for the next one, because you do a lot of traveling and you like to travel, you talk about it in the blog. Would you travel in the Americas or in Europe? Anywhere. Either one.
I would go. Actually, I would do either. But I think I probably would like to stay in Americas just because it's here and traveling over. I've traveled over like an ocean once or twice actually now, a round trip. I went to New Zealand. And that was beautiful. New Zealand was beautiful, but traveling over ocean, it was just like, there's something like a little bit nerve-wracking about it. That you're over so much water for like a really, really, really long time. But I would love to, any opportunity to travel, I am down for it.
I'm totally with you there. And
I miss traveling.
Really, yes. I'm really, I love going, but this last one is probably the most controversial.
And I will fight you for it.
Gearing up in his bones to respond to this.
Mm-hmm.
Indian taco or Navajo taco?
No question. Navajo taco.
It's like, this was the moment. I excommunicated myself from Red Street Girl, Nikki. I'm gonna have to irritate my wife and tell her we're stopping. We're gonna stop following her because it's all about the Indian taco.
It's all about the Navajo fry bread.
I don't know. I think the wrong Indian podcast supports Indian taco. It's universal. I mean, it's so funny. But you guys do try to claim the fame, so we'll let you have it.
Well, I'm both. I'm both Navajo and I'm Lakota, you know what I mean? And so up on my mom's reservation, it's an Indian taco. It's an Indian taco.
Right.
And growing up, it was a Navajo taco. And when I was young, we used to go and live with my grandmother for the summers. And to make money to come home to, the Navajo Nation, we would make Navajo tacos and we would, as kids, would be runners and we'd be running them to people's houses in the community. But that was the way. It was like Navajo tacos. That was the thing. Everybody looked forward to my mom making them.
Well, it is so interesting that fry bread is so different in each section in each region. So yes,
Right.
and I'm in Albuquerque. There is definitely a difference in the fry bread here versus the fry bread back home in North Carolina. So yeah, I can
You
definitely.
know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go off script, and I'm going to ask you: is it ground beef or is it red chili on that fry bread?
Ground beef.
Oh, okay, all right. See, you tell certain people they'll fight you. They'll say it's all about that red chili on that fry bread. I mean, if you go to T.O. country, that's what they live for. They love that red chili fry bread, man, and it's good.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So before we, take a deep dive on our Q&A, how about you tell us a little bit more about Nikki and Red Streak Girl?
Okay. Well, you gave a brief introduction to me at the very start. I wanted to, if I can I introduce myself in Navajo?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
is your stage.
Yat hello everyone. She'e Nicholet Deschine Parkhurst, Yinashia, Yankton Soon Ishkinigo, Deschitni Bushes Chin, Shusat Close, the Deshache, Tachitni, Deshanella. So I just basically said, hello, my name is Nicholet Deschine Parkhurst. I am Lakota. I'm from the San Rock Sioux tribe, but I'm also Navajo of the Deschitni clan, part of the Red Streak people. And so that's kind of where years ago when I was looking to start my blog, I actually wanted to start my blog because I was noticing a lot of plus size fashion coming up into awareness, and everybody that I was seeing that was like in the, I guess what would be called now like influencers, were mostly non-native, mostly white people. And I just saw like a need because I wasn't seeing myself represented in really anything. And I felt like I wanted to be able to share aspects of Native American lifestyle, the way that I style clothes, to kind of like hopefully inspire other people who, wear fashion, who wear clothes, we all wear clothes, to want to like, think about the ways that they can express themselves through clothing. And so Red Streak Girl came from Red Streak, which is part of my Navajo clan, part of the Red Streak people. And so that's kind of where that part of my name came from. I'm trying to infuse aspects of my culture into what I share and talk about on my blog and through social media. But I also am currently a PhD student in a justice studies program at Arizona State University. I study social media activism. So things like the No Dapple movement, Save Oak Flats, those type of movements that kind of like are happening in real life and that have really large consequences for Native peoples. But I'm also interested in how advocates of these issues are expressing this information online. How are they using social media to raise awareness? And how is that influencing what's happening on the ground? And likewise, what's happening on the ground, how is that influencing what's being said and spoken about online and virtually? I also have a master's in social work and a master's in public policy, and consider myself professionally to be a policy analyst and a program evaluator. So I kind of do a lot of different things, but I feel like mostly my area kind of focuses like on how we as Native people are represented, whether it be, professionally in my professional work in policy, but also like in our lives and the ways that impact us all individually through things like entertainment, clothing, sports mascots. So yeah, that's kind of how it all sort of developed and came together.
So with all that, I mean, how does one, for someone who doesn't know, how did you actually get started in saying, I'm going to do a blog, this is what it's going to be about, and this is how I'm going to go about doing it? I mean, some people might not even understand what a blog is.
Yeah, so a blog is basically a personal website where you utilize either some type of platform service or you create your own website where you can basically upload information, materials. So it could either be text, you can upload photos, you can upload audio files, kind of similar to like a podcast. But it's basically like your little section of the web where you can upload what you want to. Some people have photo blogs. And I got started with just a free like blogging profile service. Actually, I used to be on LiveJournal like years ago when LiveJournal first started. And I was on LiveJournal for years doing like personal, kind of like personal blogging, but more so like personal journaling. And so when LiveJournal sort of like faded away into darkness and then blogging became sort of the thing, I just sort of picked that up. And initially my blog started off with just sharing like personal aspects of my life, kind of like a journal. And then I slowly realized, hey, I can use this platform to do other kinds of things. And so I just started like sharing and writing my opinions and putting things out there. And it has been perhaps maybe 6 years, and it's evolved into what it is today. And I've been able to kind of turn it into a business and make a little bit of side money. It's not a lot, but it's nice, and it's, you know, kind of helps to keep my blog running.
Awesome.
Okay. So what actually drew you to blogging as far as
Other mediums?
Yeah. Instead of something else, you know, why?
You could have been like the next Vine queen.
Yeah. I mean,
but you wanted a blog, so.
Yeah, I think initially blogging, what drew me to blogging initially was that it was sort of anonymous. I could make it anonymous if I wanted to.
I get that.
You know, I could post words and my thoughts and opinions on, you know, on this virtual paper, and people could read it. And I didn't have to post anything about who I was. I didn't have to share photos of my face. And if I wanted to, it could just be anonymous. And then slowly, like after I became comfortable with it, I realized the importance of wanting to, like, you know, lay claim to the stuff I was putting out there, because it's also important that we know who is talking about the experiences that Native people are going through. And so, you know, I started to like say, okay, this is Nicholet Deschine. This is who I am, part of my identity. And then when other kinds of more visual social media applications came out, like Instagram, it was also a way to sort of like tack that on and to say, okay, this is now part of like a larger sort of, I guess, identity that I was putting out.
So I just want to ask another kind of, because we've often talked about representation in the media and the lack of representation in the media, particularly when it comes to Native peoples. How do you see your blog and your Instagram, again, which are both amazing, helping break down some of those stereotypes and those image issues that we have?
Yeah. So, well, it's a really tall order, and I don't want to say that I'm the only person that's, you know, doing that, because there are a lot of people who came before me that I feel have influenced and inspired me to, you know, want to also do my part to share different perspectives about who Natives are and what Natives do, and to sort of like find ways to combat these stereotypes that we always seem to find ourselves butting heads up against. And so there were other people that were doing things, and I just sort of modeled after them. But I just wanted other people to see a Native American person in a different way. And particularly the Native people at the time that were online doing these type of things that, you know, that I'm kind of doing now, were people that looked and identified in very specific kinds of ways. Particularly, I started my blog because I'm plus size, and in plus size fashion, Native American women weren't even seen within that sphere. And within Native American fashion, plus size women aren't even represented in that sphere. You know, 6 years ago they weren't, and today we still generally aren't. And so that was sort of my my thinking behind part of why I was starting my blog was to show positive representations of plus size people in different kinds of aspects, in fashion, in entertainment, talking about the ways that our lives are impacted. Because, there are lots of people with different kinds of abilities and styles and looks, and all of that is impacted by, our experiences and everything.
For me, when I first met you, it was us, battling the mascot issue. But as time has gone on, and like I said before we even got on air, my wife follows you religiously. So like I'm in tune in what you're doing and what I'm seeing. I mean, if I can just be very blunt about it, I feel like you're providing normalcy. Like you're making the playing field even in regards to your representation and how you're doing it. When I see you, I see my cousin, I see my aunt, I see my mom, I see, I see normal, what I think of Indian country, that's what I see when I see your blog. Now, don't get me wrong, there's other representation positive out there as well, but what you're saying, I think is true. I mean, I think when I see you, I see what I think of as the normal, like what makes me feel like home. That's what I get at.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. And it's one of the some of the common feedback that I receive from Native people that message me on Instagram or Facebook, or that send me an email, or even people that I see like when I'm walking around grocery stores in my neighborhood, in my community. People say like, "Oh, I follow you on Instagram," or "You've really inspired me to think about the way that I dress. That there are different ways for me to wear clothes." Like, what? I didn't realize that we can wear dresses, and or I didn't know how to style my traditional jewelry with like more contemporary kinds of clothing. Just all kinds of things. People who've said that they've been following my blog for a while or my Instagram page, and then they decided to start their own, which is amazing because we do need more authentic Native American voices everywhere, whether it's doing more traditional type of Native American content, or even just people that, aren't sharing any type of Native American content that are out there. They're chefs in restaurants. They're, astronauts. They're astronauts. They're people that are working, like, I'm trying to think of, what is his name? He works for NASA. He's Yazi. Yeah, he like shares all the stuff that he's doing for NASA, and he's, just a Navajo guy, and not just a Navajo, but he's, Navajo guy that's like out there. He's just doing his work, and he's showing an authentic representation of a Native person in a very high and technical professional field. Right. And I think that that's part of the thing, is that it's showing that Native people are so multifaceted and that we are doing amazing things. Not necessarily that we have to always be producing Native American type of content.
Yeah,
you're right.
Or work. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I'm reminded, and one of the reasons we wanted to do this particular series is for me as a little girl. I remember I won, there's like Terrific Kid or something anyway, but they put your picture up. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I wrote cashier. Live that dream. But that's because that's what my mom did. I didn't know, there are jobs out there, and there are opportunities out there, and there are all these different things that I am just now learning about and knowing about, that had I known much younger, my kids are going to have a much wider field of opportunity, because just knowing that those are out there, and just knowing that Native people are doing everything. We're in every field.
Right. And, and it's not just like employment. I mean, it's like your hobbies too. I just had a conversation with a colleague of mine, and what she shared was, I'm sorry, I don't bead, I knit. And that's okay. And I was like, yeah, it's completely okay. But there's that underlying feeling that like, am I being judged because I knit and that I don't bead, Because, we kind of have to deal with those stigmas sometimes. I mean, I know I do. I struggle with those, should I be doing more of this or should I be doing more of that? Because I just want, I guess to be accepted, but I think that's just how we grow.
Just
as
want to be
people.
loved. Is that what you're
Oh,
saying, Kenrick? You want to be loved?
That's the life motto. Love me, damn it.
Yeah. And I think it's, I also don't want to say that, like, I don't want it to come across that, those other types of jobs that we're talking about, like cashiers or people who work like in retail, you know what I mean? Those are all very important as well.
Absolutely.
I see this Native American, when I used to go to my local Starbucks, because that's not a thing right now, in case people are listening to this like in a year. But there was a Native American barista, and I remember the first time that it became known that she was Native American, and it had to do with like her last name. Like, it was very recognizable Navajo last name. And I asked her, I said, "Oh, are you Navajo?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And those little tiny connections, whether we meet somebody that might be Native in an elevator on a university campus, or we're walking around a grocery store and we see another Native, those little tiny connections that make us realize and remember that as Native people, we're connected and that we can see each other in different kinds of places.
Right.
Helps to feel connected when sometimes we're away from our home communities. Like right now, like I don't live on the Navajo Nation or on the Sanirat Sioux reservation in North Dakota. I live in Phoenix. And so those little tiny aspects where I can make connections with people in real life, but also making those connections virtually online, help to feel like we're still connected to aspects of our culture and heritage, at least for me.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We were always looking, which in Albuquerque, you just spit and there's somebody, but, well, maybe you don't spit, but this is not beside the point. But yeah, there's actually a huge Lakota and a huge Ojibwe population. And most people don't realize how diverse cities are and how many different tribal representations are often in cities. And sometimes it's just finding our folks is.
So let me go ahead and dive into another question of ours. As a Native-owned business owner, what are the obstacles you've experienced?
Oh, wow. So one very big obstacle that really comes to mind is that, I have kind of an unique and different kind of business. I think when people think of, Native American businesses, they, at least in Arizona, a lot of people think of like jewelry vendors, which is very, very important. My in-laws are Navajo silversmiths. But the other aspect of things is that, like, I don't have a storefront until most recently. Like, the majority of my business work is virtual. It's me creating content for a company or a business or a brand. And so there's that small aspect of things where people think like, what, you're a business? And so there's that sort of stigma around too, like what do contemporary Native American businesses look like today in, the age of the internet, versus like, having some type of business where either I'm producing some type of item, or the other type of thing is like Native American businesses, at least like in like Native American conferences, generally tend to focus like on tribal enterprises.
Right.
And so there's these different kinds of divides of the type of businesses that exist in Indian country. And so I kind of have like a very unique kind of business that's sort of virtual and exists of me. And I hire some people occasionally to like do lighting or like edit my audio of different kinds of videos or to take photos of me. Most recently though, I started designing enamel pins. And so I sell those as well. But yeah, that's sort of the biggest barrier or challenge I think that I have in regards to a business. But I know that there are lots of other challenges that business owners and entrepreneurs face. I do some volunteer work with Native American women entrepreneurs of Arizona. And some of the things that we're seeing too with business owners here in Arizona is, you know, different types of things related to like access to the internet and to developing an online storefront, or finding clients for more professional type of businesses and being able, how do you keep those types of clients? But yeah, I'm kind of involved in a number of different things. So I'm kind of aware about what's happening.
Okay. So as you kind of mentioned it, but let our listeners know, how are you handling life during this Corona pandemic?
Wow. Yeah, how are we all handling it?
And we are social distancing. I mean, we are hundreds of miles away from each other.
You can't get more social distance than we are right now.
Yeah. You know, since March, my family has had, I'm very thankful that we have the ability to be able to like self-isolate, that we've chosen to be able to do that and that we have the capability to do that. My husband works from home. And so, I mean, my husband has been given the opportunity to work from home. So he has his work set up in the kitchen. And I have to work and I attend school and my setup is in the living room. But we also have 2 kids and our oldest kid is in college and she is, you know, doing schooling from home here as well. She is also set up in the kitchen and also in her bedroom. And then my youngest just graduated from high school. And they were also doing their work online. We have a small house. So we're kind of like all
on top of each other.
Yeah. We're also spread out inside the house. And one of the biggest issues that we have is like internet. That when we are all online, doing Zoom calls, doing work meetings, attending class, like our internet is just swamped and drained. That I can't imagine how, you know, our relatives in very rural areas with limited access to internet or with slow internet, low quality internet, you know, how are they dealing with this? I'm in the city and I have like high speed internet and it's still an issue. Yeah, it's wild, but I'm very thankful that I have the ability to be able to, you know, self-isolate. I know not a lot of people do. And I know that, you know, some family members have lost jobs because of the pandemic and, what's happening, you know, with them. It's, you know, I think about them as well.
So just to switch gears a little bit and thinking about young people and maybe not so young people, what advice would you give them as far as following that same kind of career path that you're on, where you're doing lots of different things, a lot of it's online, you're in that influencer space? What advice would you give someone?
By the way, she's an OG influencer. Let's be real about that. I mean, she's been around before like all this stuff was here. I mean, it's easy now.
Well, thanks. I don't necessarily consider myself an influencer. Like I know I am, but like I still like see myself as like professionally, I see myself as like a policy analyst and a program evaluator because those are like my jobs that like, you know, have paid me in the past, or that I've worked for like organizations that, you know, do that type of work. But the flip side of things is I've always been passionate about pop culture, about entertainment. Like prior to the pandemic, I was at the movie theater maybe every week, every other week. Like I was watching movies.
I miss the movies.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to be able to find a way to be something else other than just my work, than just my job. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like completely. A few years ago, I got like really burnt out from my work in social work. And I, you know, was working 60-hour weeks. and I wanted to get out of it. And when I finally did, I was like, I need to be more than just my job and just a title. And so I started making an effort to like do the things that like I wanted to do that I considered hobbies, and the things that are, I guess, a little bit more on the creative end that gave me some passion and to kind of make it worth going back into, you know, work every single day. Not saying my work was like really, my second job was like really, really horrible, but it like helps to provide some type of motivation. At the end of the week, I can go home and make content. I can shoot photos. I can share about it. I can connect with the people that I've become friends with and that I've created a community with online. People that, you know, I have not ever met in some cases, people who are non-native, people who are native, people who are from other parts of the world. And so that's kind of like the flip side of things, is turning something that you might be passionate about and taking a little bit of vulnerability to like put it out there, can help to sort of like be a driver to like want to focus and do other kinds of things. I was, you know, just trying to find a way to make a connection between the work that I did professionally and how do I I guess in a sense, translate it for the public. And hopefully that's kind of, at least that's what I see happening. And I hope that's kind of what's coming across through the content that I create and share.
Well, I don't know who you need to pitch it to. I don't know whose network you need to get connected to, but I don't know why you're not like on the travel network yet. I don't know why you don't have a Netflix show. You know, there should be like, you know, The World According to Nikki or something, you know, or Red Street Girl Coast to Coast or something. I don't know.
Because we're in a pandemic and we can't travel right now. That's why.
I know. I'm in denial of the whole thing, you know? But like I said, Kenrick just wants love. That's all. That's all it boils down to. You know? Connection, right?
Absolutely.
So before we let you go, I mean, please like let our listeners know where can they find you? What amazing things are you doing? Like, if you have anything coming up that we should be aware of, let our listeners know.
Yeah, so I can be found online. My blog is redstreetgirl.com, like a red streak, like a red streak in your hair, redstreetgirl.com. And my handle is @redstreetgirl. And I can be found on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I am on TikTok, but like I've only shared like videos about like food.
Keep
and
doing
like
it.
and cooking on there. But I'm mostly on TikTok just to like watch other people.
Me too. Yeah.
I used to be a very much a social media voyeur. I didn't put nothing up. I just wanted to go see what people were doing.
That's Brittany on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on Twitter for a long time. It's really interesting to see how Twitter has how native Twitter, I should say, has changed and evolved. I remember when I joined Twitter, it was years ago, and native Twitter didn't necessarily exist in its form the way that it exists now. And then I was on it for a long time, and then just sort of fell off when I think people were just starting to get back onto Twitter, when native people were starting to get onto Twitter. And so it's just really interesting. But yeah, there's a whole network there of interesting people.
So again, sorry, I feel like I distracted you. But yeah, I mean, go ahead and share with everybody what you're doing and what can we expect from Red Street Girl.
Oh, next. Yes. So
my fault. I'm sorry.
I think I do have another podcast interview coming out around Indigenous Peoples Day. And I will be announcing that also on my social media pages. And then I'm also a panelist with the Women in Travel Summit. It's an online travel summit. And so I will also provide that information on my social media. But aside from that, aside from those two other speaking engagements, I'm going to be focusing on school and hopefully getting through my next phases. But aside from that, anything else, will be shared on my social media channels.
Perfect.
thank you so much for coming and talking with us and spending this time. I am fangirling. I don't know if you can tell, but and I really appreciate you being able to share a little bit of your knowledge and wisdom and experiences.
Thank you so much for having me. Like, I've listened to some of your guys' podcasts before with Amanda, and so with Amanda Blackhorse. And so I just feel really honored to be asked to appear on your podcast. So thank you guys so much for the work that you all are doing as well. Absolutely. I mean, we wish we could have had you on sooner, but we'll definitely have you on again. So that's something that we can be happy to look forward to. And I'm going to make my wife happy, and we're going to order some of your pins for sure. Thank you. All right. You have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I hung up on her hard.
No, she's right there.
Our people can't see that, Brittany. Our people can't see that.
Oh, hi, people. Jeez.
All right. Well, that was a wonderful segment with Nikki, and we will definitely share all her links down below. So make sure you guys are checking that out, and we will catch you again later.
Bye. I didn't know we were closing.
I think your dog barking. You need your dog to bark.